Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. So if you're thinking about filing a VAWA case or you already have one pending, then this update could really directly affect and impact you. USCIS just made some major changes to how VAWA cases are reviewed, and some of these changes could make it harder to get approved. So I want to break down exactly what changed and what you need to do now to protect your case. My name is Attorney Ebony Anuforo. I am a U.S. immigration attorney, and I represent clients in all 50 states and globally with U.S. immigration matters. And in today's discussion, I'm going to walk you through the latest 2025 and through 2026 VAWA policy updates and what they mean for you in real life. And this is based on recent USCIS policy manual updates that went into effect immediately in December of 2025 and is going into effect now that we are in spring of 2026. So before we do that and have that discussion, let's just give ourselves a quick VAWA refresh. And before we recap, what we discussed, let's just talk about what VAWA is in case you're new here and you don't know much about VAWA. VAWA allows certain individuals who have experienced abuse by a U.S. citizen or green card holder to apply for a green card without relying on that abuser. And this includes spouses, children, and even parents in some situations, in some cases. To qualify, you still need to show that you have a real relationship. So if you're in a marriage, you have to show that you are in a bona fide, real, genuine marriage. You have to provide evidence of your abuse, whether it was a battery or if it was extreme cruelty. You have to prove that you're a person of good moral character and that you have lived with your abuser. Now, so let's talk about one of the big changes, and that's the living with the abuser, okay? That's one of the biggest changes that we are seeing with this policy. USCIS is now requiring that you lived with your abuser during the relationship. Now, before, there was some more flexibility with that. You could show that you lived with your abuser at some point. So even if you were living together while you were dating, you got married, things took a turn left, and you were no longer living together, as long as we can show you lived with your abuser at some point, that was fine. But things have changed and they're requiring you have to provide evidence that you lived with your abuser during the relationship. Visiting them is not enough. Having a separate main address may hurt your case, okay? So this means that your case now needs stronger proof of shared residence. Now, second big change is that they're requiring stronger evidence. So even though VAWA still says, right, the regulation still says that they will accept any credible evidence, USCIS is being much stricter, okay? They're comparing your evidence across systems. They are looking for inconsistencies in your evidence. They are giving less weight to unsupported statements. So if your case only has a personal statement or personal declaration, that may not be enough anymore, right? Especially if it's not a well-written declaration, right? You may want to include police reports if you have it, although it's not necessary because a lot of VAWA cases do not require a police report. But if you have it, it is strong evidence. But you should submit medical records if you have it, or therapist and social worker evaluations and letters, especially for those cases that involve emotional and psychological abuse. And then witness affidavits also to corroborate your personal statement. Another big change we're seeing is that the abuse standard is going to be a lot narrower, okay? USCIS is going to be focusing more on severe abuse and physical abuse. It doesn't mean that you can't submit evidence if you were emotionally or psychologically abused, right? But, they're going to be questioning whether certain situations qualify as extreme cruelty, right? So in emotional abuse and psychological abuse cases, we're going to see a lot more scrutiny, all right, especially for cases that are not well documented. And another big change is going to be towards the good moral character requirement. So USCIS is tightening how they review your background. Okay, they're going to be using biometrics more aggressively, look closely at criminal history. They're going to penalize failure to disclose information. And here's the key: even small issues can affect your case if it's not properly explained. So if you have a criminal history, you don't want to hide that from USCIS. You want to be upfront and disclose that. And then if your case involves a stepchild relationship, USCIS may require proof that the relationship existed at the time of the abuse, and they're gonna want proof that the relationship continued in certain situations, which adds another layer of documentation, right? So this is how they're making things a lot more stricter when it comes to VAWA cases. So what this basically means is that the law itself has not changed with VAWA, so I don't want to alarm anyone or scare anyone, right? But USCIS is reviewing the cases more stricter, right? And the way in which they review it is going to be changed significantly, right? So cases are now going to be more document heavy, or required to be. Credibility matters more than ever. It did before, but you better believe now it's going to matter even more. And then inconsistencies can definitely hurt your case. So what you should do now, right? So if you're planning to file or already filed, here's what you should definitely, do. You want to strengthen your case and your evidence immediately. You want to make sure that you're consistent across all documents and statements. Disclose everything. So especially criminal history. If you have criminal history, you don't want to hide that. And then most importantly, you want to get legal guidance before filing or even responding to RFEs, because one mistake can delay or even deny your case. Okay, so if you need help with your VAWA case, or you're not sure whether you qualify for VAWA, especially under these new rules, then you can give us a call, or you can send us a WhatsApp message and schedule a consultation, a strategy session, so we can discuss your facts in your case and really come up with a plan for you to see what's the best route for you with regards to your immigration plan. I represent clients in all 50 states globally with regards to any U.S. immigration matter. And what we like to do is we like to help you build the strongest case possible under U.S. immigration law. And especially with VAWA, we want to make sure that we help you build the strongest case possible under these new guidelines. Okay, so thank you for tuning into today's discussion. Again, if you want to reach out to me to discuss your personal matter, I'll be happy to speak with you. Take care. Talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.